Hi, my name is Emily. I am finishing up my freshman year at Princeton University, and here are 10 things that I wish I knew before I committed to Princeton. For some context, I'm from California, and I don't know what I'm majoring in yet, potentially something in the humanities or something a little more quantitative, and I am in the Princeton Army ROTC program. So those are the main things that I am involved in on campus. All right, so I have 10 things for you, not necessarily bad or good, but just good things to know before you decide to come to Princeton. The first thing that I want to talk about is that you don't really have that much time to explore if you are on the fence between being a BSc or an AB major, so engineering versus non-engineering. I came into Princeton thinking I'm for sure AB, but I know that I like math, so I'll take math my first year. I love the math classes. And I've been going back and forth now about maybe trying to switch into BSc. But the thing is that once you've started on the AB path, it's quite hard to switch into BSc. Like, I'm on track with math, but if I wanted to switch into engineering right now, I would have to take 2 semesters of physics, a semester of chemistry, and a semester of computer science, while all of my other engineering classmates have taken those their freshman year and are now working their way through the quite rigid engineering curriculum. And now I'm at a point where maybe engineering would have been a good major for me, but there is definitely some cost-benefit analysis that needs to be done if I decide to make that switch. Honestly, from what it seems like, I could take more classes in the engineering discipline that I would in theory study by not being an engineering major. Like, I could do, for example, math track econ major or computer science major, something like that now, and take more ORF, that's operations research and financial engineering classes, by being an AB major because I wouldn't have to take all those extra prerequisites. So if you're on the fence, definitely I would recommend start in engineering because it's so much easier to switch into AB rather than switching into BSc. So that's one thing to know. Like, you don't really have as much time to explore as it seems when it comes to that big question. Along the same lines, the second thing I want to talk to you about is that this is not something I particularly noticed, but my friend told me about this today, and I thought it was an interesting thing, is that the STEM classes here are very structured in the sense that you have your prerequisites and then you take this next class and then you logically take the next class after that and you build on the knowledge that you've accumulated over time. However, with humanities classes, I think the idea is more that you can explore lots of different classes in the humanities across different disciplines. So there's not as many prerequisites or any at all for a lot of the humanities classes. And then you can end up learning things and then never really applying them again. Or taking a class where maybe you've taken a lot of, let's say, philosophy classes, and then you're taking a high-level philosophy class, and then your classmates haven't really taken philosophy before. So it creates a little bit of maybe confusion, I guess, in the classroom, or can be a little inefficient, I guess, because people are coming from so many different levels of knowledge of that discipline. Whereas with the STEM classes, everyone is kind of prepared in the same way. The third thing that I think is important to know is that Princeton does a great job of talking about their financial aid program and how great it is. You go on a tour to Princeton and they'll tell you that Princeton just loves to throw money at its students. And that is true, with a caveat. And that caveat is that the financial aid program, it can be fantastic. It can be amazing. However, you kind of need to fit into a certain box, into a certain mold of who the university deems is in need in order to receive those benefits. So if you have a complex family situation, then there might be some issues potentially with receiving financial aid. And the financial aid extends beyond the school year itself and actually into summer funding. So if somebody is on, let's say, 80% financial aid during the school year, then they can actually get about 80% of their Princeton summer programs funded too through the financial aid office. So there's 2 sides to that coin, right? It's amazing for the people that need it and qualify for it and have this aid, but it can be an uphill battle for people that do need it, but have a harder time convincing the financial aid office that they need it. I'd also like to add a little side point that budget cuts are real, and they affect, I think, a lot of the top universities right now. We feel it. Recently, the Princetonian published an article about how the Keller Center for Social Entrepreneurship had pretty much all of its employees laid off. Some of our buildings' hours have been cut. Some departments that typically have additional funding for programs, that funding has been cut. So it's not catastrophic the way I see it, the way I've experienced it, but I do feel it. And my classmates feel it too, that these budget cuts are real and they are impactful. Hopefully they're temporary. The fourth thing is that Princeton is very East Coast. And I guess that maybe could be expected. It is an East Coast school. However, I was surprised coming in learning that it feels like at least, the majority of people are from New Jersey or New York. We do have quite a few international students. And then, of course, there's students from California and Texas and Florida and a bunch of other states and countries. But it is a very, very East Coast school, which is, again, not a pro, not a con, just something to know. And it's also a pretty legacy-heavy school. A lot of people here are legacy. I don't think the fact that we have a lot of legacy students necessarily impacts the quality of the student population or the quality of the experience here. Definitely not. I think people that are here belong here. They deserve to be here. But it's just something to keep in mind. I'd also say, I guess my fifth point is that there is a little bit of tension, at least the way I see it, between athletes and non-athletes. We're a D1 school. We have some amazing teams, and I think people do feel a lot of pride in some of our teams, and just the fact that Princeton is a D1 school, it's great, it's fun. But I also do see some implicit or indirect, maybe, I guess, back and forth between the students that aren't athletes and the students that are athletes. Non-athletes, some non-athletes maybe look down a bit on the athletes when it comes to academic contexts. And then at the same time, there's the athletes that are dedicating their lives to their sports and working really hard in that aspect. And they are providing something to the community that shouldn't be overlooked. So that's just something to know, vibes-wise. The sixth thing is that Princeton feels pretty balanced politically, in the sense that it's, well, of course, all college campuses, or most college campuses these days, are left-leaning. However, there's a culture at Princeton to discuss things, and I do think that people that are leaning a little bit more on the right side politically feel more open and open to talk about their opinions, and then let people that lean on the other side will talk about their opinions. There's a lot of discourse and discussion, which is amazing. I like that a lot. And at the same time, Princeton is a peaceful campus. We do have, I would say, some rallies and student gatherings and advocacy things, of course. However, the campus as a whole is quite peaceful. And even when these types of rallies occur, they are very respectful. They don't disrupt the campus. They don't disrupt classrooms or students. In that sense, the civil discourse is very much alive here, and it's refreshing. It's nice. The seventh thing that I would like to share is that there is a very academic culture here. I know, shocker, Princeton's a very academic school. Of course, that should be expected. But it is something that I was a little surprised by, because I came here and I, for once, felt that I really fit. And it's kind of weird if you're not interested in things. It's weird if you don't want to understand why a concept exists the way it is. People want to really learn here. They want to have their heads in the books. Of course, people get burnt out, people get tired, and there's a lot of work, it's a lot of studying, but people are curious at their core. It's amazing. We're a pretty nerdy group, I would say. And also something that's interesting compared to the other Ivies, like we're not a pre-professional school. Like we don't have a business school, for example, right? But and you can see that in for example, here's an example. Okay. There was this conference that I was going to go to this last week, held at another Ivy, and I was going to go. It would be a great opportunity to like network and expand my knowledge on some things, just like more. It was more of a social opportunity to go to this conference at this other Ivy school. And a few of us signed up to go, and then we, all of us ended up not going because the school was just kind of far, but also we had our classes that we wanted to go to. We didn't want to miss our classes. And it just, like, for us, it didn't make sense to go. Whereas other Ivy League students that were invited for this conference did go. And I think a part of that has to do with the culture at Princeton. It's that, like, people want to be here. People want to study. And I think a lot of people don't want to miss classes. They don't look for opportunities to miss classes. It's just ingrained in the culture here that like you really want to be here and you really want to learn and you don't want to miss out on this type of opportunity to learn from your professors and your classmates. The eighth thing that I have for you is that while I did say that there are potentially some hiccups with the financial aid system, at the same time, Princeton offers really cool trips through classes, or like you can come up with an idea and get funding to do a trip. And in my freshman year, I've already gone on 2 of these trips, fully funded by the university. I went on a trip over winter break for a week to Argentina with a group of 5 other Princeton students, as well as a faculty member. And we went to Buenos Aires, and we went to from Buenos Aires to a very rural small town where we restored and documented an abandoned cemetery, or multiple abandoned cemeteries. Not necessarily abandoned, but cemeteries, like Jewish cemeteries that are in towns that are very quickly dwindling in population, and they need people to come and help take care of the memories left by the people that were there. That was an amazing, like life-changing type of trip to be able to go and do this type of community service and have an impact and come back and keep working on this project by doing the digital documentation for these cemeteries. And then over spring break, I went with my freshman seminar class to Barbados, where we did research on linguistics. So this is a linguistics class, and we went to Barbados because the people there speak English, and they also speak an English-based Creole called Bajan. So we went and we interviewed about 150 people on their attitudes towards English and Bajan. And then our final project is to write a research paper about these findings. As you can see, like both of these trips are very unique, very niche opportunities, and it's very like fun, exciting, and like, you can learn and do something. I don't think other universities offer this type of programming, at least not to the extent that Princeton does. It's really common to go on these types of trips. Like if you just look a little bit, like you will find these types of opportunities. I think just this alone makes Princeton worth it over like any institution. This is amazing and something to keep in mind when you're making your decision. The 9th thing that I want to tell you about is just like a few of the little details. I'm very happy at Princeton. I like Princeton a lot. And part of that is because of the little details there that make student life just enjoyable. Our brunch on the weekends is phenomenal, like phenomenal. You have lox and avocado, like mashed avocado, and every morning you have omelets made to order. But there's also like donuts and cinnamon rolls and chia seed pudding and homemade granola and overnight oats and a waffle maker that you can make your own waffles. Just like such an amazing brunch. And then breakfast in general is really good, but like weekend brunch is a level up. It makes like every week very special because I can go and make myself a really nice breakfast. It's amazing. I also think that our facilities are great in terms of, for example, the gym. The gym is state of the art, really good gym. It has massage chairs, like 4 massage chairs that I think each cost $1,500. You can get some really nice massages there. Yeah, there's like fitness classes at the gym. A lot of the dorms are pretty good. I mean, the dorms are hit or miss. It depends on which building you get in. But I would say, like, overall, the amenities and the facilities here are good. And it's like those little details that just make life really nice. Like, also, all the residential colleges offer activities and trips, little outings to New York City or to Philadelphia or just like something around the Princeton area pretty much every week. So you'll never really be bored here. There's a community here no matter what, and you can do fun things all the time, every day. There's so much to do, fun stuff. And then the final piece of advice or just information that I have for you is that if you're watching this video because you got into Princeton, I want to tell you that you got into Princeton because you'd fit here. I couldn't have really anticipated this before I came. I mean, I was torn between schools when I was deciding. But when I came here, like now that I've been here for a year, I really feel like I fit. And I feel like other people feel that way too. Like, they just fit. There's something about the people here. It's the academic curiosity. It's like, for example, like everybody here, if a lot of people here will say that if they weren't like this major, then they would have been this other major, and that other major is a completely opposite major. Like, they're like, well, if I wasn't a molecular biology major, then I would have been a comparative literature major. Like, completely opposite things, but people say that because it's true. Like, people here have a lot of different passions, a lot of different skills, and it's amazing. I feel like we just get each other. Just like, if you got in, it's because you belong. The community here is something else. It's so special. I'm so grateful to be here. Princeton is an amazing university with so many opportunities, and so much adventure awaits you if you come here. So all of these things that I said that maybe don't sound perfect about Princeton, they're true. They are true, like in the sense that no institution is perfect. Every institution has its flaws, but at the end of the day, Princeton is amazing, and I'm really grateful to be here, and I hope to see you here next year. If you have any questions, want some advice, want someone to talk to as you make this decision, feel free to reach out, leave a comment, and I hope this video was helpful. All right, bye.